Hey everyone, it's been a hot minute. So I promised that when the dust settled, I would create a video to offer whatever I could to help you guys regarding your results. I am not on social media, so I haven't seen the kind of general sentiment going around about Gamsat. However, I have been on calls all morning to students this morning, chatting with them about their results and how they're feeling. From my experience in the Gamsat scene, the typical message that goes around this time of year is things like, don't let a test define you. It's one snapshot in time. We know it's really hard, and just general things like this. And while that's nice and all, it's not particularly helpful. It's true. It doesn't define you, but I wanted to give some different and hopefully more useful feedback and guidance to those who might not have got the mark that they were hoping for. So firstly, life's hard. That's the real advice. Life's hard. And this isn't the kind of hard that you might like, and it can be easy to see people around you be successful. Like, oh, they got in and feel that it's just you. But the problem comes in looking at any one particular datum and extrapolating it. What you don't see about someone, let's take me, for example. My first sit, I got 82. What you didn't see was the 10 years of trauma and difficulty in between when I decided to get into medicine and when I actually did, having to get over a drug addiction, from which I've been sober for 10 years, alcoholism, from which I've been sober for 10 years, get a marriage, get divorced, go through dealing with trauma from childhood. There's so much stuff that had to happen, and it's going through that ordeal that helped me cultivate the kinds of skills that made me successful on my first try. Now, all you see is the high score. You don't see the difficulty in the interim. So it's like, even in old times, Sparta, let's say, when a man's becoming a boy, they send him out into the middle of the woods to fend for themselves, and they go through some kind of traumatic ordeal and come back a man. Now, I'm not suggesting that that is a way of raising children. What I'm saying is that medicine is an incredible achievement if you ever get in. And generally, in life, before you get something big, there's an ordeal that you need to go through. For you, this ordeal is on this side of getting into medicine. Now, for other people, maybe you didn't see it, it's in their personal lives, or they get into medicine and then they're one of those people that really struggle in med school, or maybe it's not for them. And, people are very loud about their successes and very quiet about, when things aren't going well. So when all you see around you is people being successful, it can be easy to think that it's just you that's failing. What you don't see is you're seeing one person, one datum of a person at a high, and you're looking at one datum of yourself as a low and extrapolating all out. I promise you, what you don't see and what I often hear behind the scenes, everyone, it all just evens out. Okay, so the first thing is resist the temptation to feel that there's some special kind of negativity happening to you that isn't happening to others, and know that whether you get it now, whether you get it on the other side of medicine, no one gets out unscathed. All of life is setbacks and the way that you deal with it. Which brings me to what to actually do about it. Life isn't about what happens to you. It's about what you do about it. There's a lot of talk, a lot of questions I get about what are my chances of getting into med. I believe there's even a phrases tool on the website or something that tells you your chances based on your score of getting an interview. And I resist that. You could say, epistemically, knowledge-based, if I throw a die, I've got a 1 in 6 chance of getting a 6. But you could say ontologically, being what actually happens, that if I know the weight, the angle, the wind resistance, and all the various factors, that I either have a 0 or a 100% chance of getting a 6. Similarly, it's not like if you get a certain mark and then you got to toss a coin, you got a 50% chance. No, you're either 100% going to get into med or you're 0% going to get into med. Here's another statistic for you. 100% of students who never gave up getting into med got into med or died. And 100% of students who gave up getting into med didn't become doctors. They're the real statistics. So you choose whether you're in the 0 or the 100. And what decides whether you're in the 0 or 100 are the kinds of limitations that you place on yourself, I don't mean psychologically like, oh, I can do it, I can't do it. What I mean is like, let's take a boxer, right? A boxer gets up at 4 a.m. They place a powerful limitation on themselves and they experience themselves as powerful for the sake of that limitation. But that limitation places or makes available for them other kinds of things in life. So too, you place various limitations on yourself. I'm going to study during these hours, or I'm going to pay a certain amount for tutoring if that's how you choose to go about being successful at Gamsat, whatever it might be. Currently, if you haven't yet got where you need to go and you've decided that you're going to be in the 100%, which is to say you are definitely going to get into medicine, the question becomes what happens between now and when I actually get in? And trying to, as much as possible, let's say streamline that journey, which is to say to better approximate the kinds of things that need to be done in order for you to get in. Now, in order to do that, what can be known is whatever has been done before, unless you've achieved really good improvements, you're just not there yet, in which case just keep going. But if you've experienced setback, or maybe your scores have gone backwards, or that they haven't improved, then what can be known is what was done isn't what needs to be done. In my experience, extensive experience teaching Gamsat, I don't know if I'd say very few, but a significantly smaller portion than you'd think of success is as a result of technical ability, or just like some trick that you need to learn, or new structure that you need to apply. A lot of students are looking for the golden bullet. There is none. Most of what causes people to not be successful yet at the Gamsat is the very way that they're approaching trying to be successful, whether that's mindset, the way they organize themselves, that the approach itself. So, I'm going to pause there for a sec. I just want to contemplate, collect my thoughts, and come back with what you need. Give me a sec. All right. So, we've covered you've got either a 0 or 100% chance of getting in, and that's not a chance like rolling a dice. You choose whether you're the 0 or whether you're the 100. If you never give up, then you are the 100. If you give up, then you are the 0. So if you're never going to give up, then you will. It's decided already right now. Bam, you just decided you're going to be a doctor. It will happen. The question we're dealing with is how to now shorten the process in between now and what will happen, which is you getting into medicine. There are 3 factors. I've mentioned this in other videos, and forgive me if it's repetitious. If my son was going to die, if someone told me my son was going to die if I didn't walk from Melbourne to Darwin, it doesn't cross my mind for a second, can I get to Darwin? I'm going to get to Darwin. Eventually, you can't stop me. There are only 2 things I need: consecutive steps and the right directions. Now, I don't know how many steps are in between Melbourne and Darwin, presumably a lot. What I know is it's a finite amount. So I'll head north. At some point, I'll need someone to go, it's more that way. And I'll go that way. At some point, I'll get to Alice Springs. I'll go, no, it's more that way. And eventually, I'll get there, right? You're either, if you haven't got there yet, you're either not taking the steps or you've been taking them in the wrong direction. Or you've been going 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. What is needed is consecutive steps and the right directions. So it's, you haven't been taking the steps. The answer is easy. Take the steps. We come now more likely to direction. The way that you've been going about it is wrong. Now, I mean, the most obvious answer to direction is to just get someone who knows the directions. And that's what tutors are for. And I guess just pick those that you feel confident do actually know the directions. I appreciate not everyone either wants to spend money on tutoring or can afford to, and that's no issue. So let's talk about how you might like to do it if you're in that camp. There's access to the Section 2 sorted group. I appreciate and know from being told that people feel shy to engage. In my experience, very, very seldom, almost if ever, I'm not sure I can think of someone who regularly posted, applied the feedback, and continued to post and did that iteratively over the course of the sitting that has not been successful in their terms, whatever success looked like to them, and generally got a very high mark. If I'm wrong about that, it's definitely the minority. Point being is you have access there to a resource of, Lana. I'm no longer managing that group, but Lana got 91. She was one of my students, and she asked me if she doesn't know or she wants to clarify anything. So the advice is through me, and she's very capable tutor and Section 2 writer herself. It's incredible. It's free. Why would you not do it? Right? Just get over the shyness. I mean, if the ordeal that you have to go through to become a doctor is to post in a group, I get it's confronting, but this is free. All right, there's that. Obviously, there's blogs and videos. You already know about that. Soon, hopefully, I mean, it's much more work than I thought it was going to be, but I'm creating an AI, which will be like the ASA online Section 2 test, except it'll give you 10 metrics for each essay, your score and how you scored along 10 metrics plus written feedback. And that'll be very cheap. The beta version I'm hoping is going to come out in a couple of months. I might make it $5 or $10 an essay or something like that. But that's another thing you can do to get the right kinds of directions. And then for Section 3, I generally recommend to do the ASA practice papers. Log your wrong questions. Gold standard have work solutions on YouTube, which is something that's very good to use. You should be able to figure out why you got the question wrong. There will be some questions over, and use Khan Academy for those that you don't. If there are questions that, in spite of you knowing the work solution and looking through Khan Academy, you still don't do, put them to the side and keep them in a list. And then maybe just at the end, you might need a tutor just for those that persist in your not understanding them, even in spite of the work solutions. So you can do that. I mean, that's generally free for Section 3. Section 1, the Des books, I generally recommend, Des O'Neill. And you may have done those things and are yet to be successful. In which case, I mean, it's very hard for me to talk to the entire crowd, but success ultimately boils down to a bunch of small things done well. There's no golden bullet. You need to identify, how I said there's a finite number of steps between Melbourne and Darwin. Identify anything in that set. Anything that you know that would be good to know for Gamsat that you don't currently know or aren't confident in. If you identify something correctly and then resolve it, the process of success is nothing more than the accumulation of those small tasks done well. So get to work on finding one thing that you need to know that you don't know. Continue to repeat that process until you eventually get in. That's how to be the 100% for sure. All right. I hope some of that helps, or at least that it's offered a different perspective than generic platitudes about you can do it. Please feel free, if you have any further questions about any of that or want to clarify that, you can email me or you can book in the Calendly link. That's, I think it's calendly.com/90plusgamsat. And you can book in a free session with me, 15-minute session to do a guidance and strategy sit down. I'm happy to do that. But anyway, I love you all. Keep at it. And also, I've asked Lana to post, or for those that are going to see this on Facebook, I've asked her to post the Unbroken motivational video. It's something that I think is a great video to watch this time of year. If you're seeing this on YouTube or elsewhere, then Unbroken motivational video on YouTube. It's a good one. All right, guys. See ya.